Hello, this is Slave Critic 5. I know it's been like a month and a half, 2 months since comic review, and this is my fourth take doing this video. This review, so if this thing's rust, I'm sorry. Well, anyway, I'm going to review a very obscure superhero film from '94, and it's the original Fantastic Four from '94 that Corman executively produced, along with another person that was never released because the other person that was co-producing it with Corman only helped work on the film so we could keep the rights to the films, and then that same co-producer went on to do the other Fantastic Four one, the one from 2005. How he kept the rights, how that guy kept the rights after 11-year absence, I don't know. I think copyright, over the years, got more lenient with how long it could last. I don't think it was as flexible in the earlier days of its existence. Well, it's 10 years ago. The movie takes place in '94. They don't tell what time the beginning is, but Reed and Victor are in school. They're doing this experiment. There's this phenomenal space called Colossus that they're trying to harness the energy of it into the invention of his. They go to harness it. Reed's worried about the calculations, or they're testing a device, before they can use it to go into space. The device that they're using, so it's absorbing the energy of Colossus. It malfunctions. It starts shooting all this electricity out of it. Victor gets hurt. He gets burnt all over his face and his body. Ben Grimm runs in and saves Reed Richardson and gets him out of there. Meaning Ben's rushed to the hospital. Victor's rushed to the hospital. They're told he's dead, but then you find out he's not. And the surgeons are trying to save him, and they want to keep all hush about it. I don't know, maybe the projector image, they don't really explain it clearly. Well, it's 10 years later. They're doing the experiment over again. They have this diamond that they think is going to make it safe, protect them, but this guy called the Jeweler, who I guess is a villain from the comics, I don't know how big a role he is, he goes in, steals the diamond, replaces it with fake. Dr. Doom, who and his men are monitoring him, who you'll only maybe know initially they're talking to as Dr. Doom if you read the comics, because when they call him in, they call him like the king, they call him his majesty or his royalness or something like that. And Dr. Doom wants the powers of Colossus because he hates Reed Richards, and he knows Reed Richards is space, and he knows the drill to Radon, so he thinks he's gonna die. He's gonna die in space. So they're going in space. They're going there where the radiation Colossus is. They find the diamond starts sparking because it's fake. They get hit by the radiation. Their ship is destroyed. Somehow they survive it. They get powers. Reed Richards in this version is only able to, because Mr. Fantastic is only able to expand his arms. In the Tim Story ones, he expands his whole body, but Tim Story had a lot bigger budget. So did the one from last year, which I've heard is the worst one of the three. So he can do that. Susan can turn invisible. Johnny can turn his body into fire, and Ben Grimm, when he gets upset like the Hulk, he turns into the... Well, they don't call him in the they don't call him in the movie, but in the comics in the later maybe movies, he's known as the Fiend. So they're out in the desert. Doctor Doom, meanwhile, is trying to get hold of the diamond from the jeweler. He sends his man to buy it. He doesn't want to do it. He doesn't want to give it, so he's trying to get... Dr. Doom's trying to get the jewel from the collector so he can use it. Meanwhile, they are picked up by this military team and this doctor who's examining them, and it turns out that they are not what they seem, and like everything goes to hell in a handbasket, and everything goes all crazy and all goes heck, and then they find out, and then they meet Doctor Doom. That's about 40 minutes into it, and they find out the whole lab that they were in was was his doing. He was running the whole thing, or at least he was running the whole thing, and the one doctor was working for him, and then it's them getting out of trying to escape from Doom and stay alive, and then all the shenanigans and stuff that happens on the way. Like I said for the first attempt, I think it's pretty good. I give it a 6 out of 10. It has one of the big problems that the Tim Story one had, where there's a lot of it where there's not maybe because of the really low budget, where they're a lot of the time, a lot of it where they're just where Fantastic Four and Doctor Doom are just sitting around talking, and there's not a lot of fighting in it. But the fight scenes that there is, you actually hear the things say it's clobbering time in a way where it's not disrespectful to the fans like it was in the last film because of the contest it was used in. So for a movie that only had only had $1 million budget, I thought it was really good. I say, if you're interested, look it up on Google. Look up Fantastic Four '94 and give it a watch. You may like it more than the Tim Story and the other one, and the Tim Story and the recent one, or you may think it's the worst of the bunch. It's all up to it. It depends on how nitpicky you are. If you want more if you care more about being faithful to the source material, then the special effects, then the Roger Corman executive produced one that Corman did, that's the one you want to see. If you want to see better effects, but it's specs, and you don't mind that them totally getting Doom's origin wrong, then watch the Tim Story one. But if you want to see Doom's origin do right, watch the Corman one as well. I give it a 6 out of 10. I thought it was pretty good. I'm not switched to some of the other superhero movies from the 90s. From the 90s that came out that were done by Marvel. Because the only other Marvel movie that I know of that came out in the 90s, unless Marvel has the rights to Spawn, that I know of, was the Captain America movie that came out around that time, which I haven't seen in 20 years, so I can't really compare this to that one and some of the other superhero movies that came out at that time. But I give Fantastic Four original a 6 out of 10. I say check it out. 235, have a nice day, people.